Hello and welcome to your Broken Galaxy. I am broken as always, and today we are going to have the privilege of seeing what would happen in a fight between Bail Organa, that's Leia's dad, and Lobot, Lando's second in command on Cloud City. So, Bail arrives on Cloud City, and he is getting off his ship, and Lando comes walking up and says, "Senator, how are you doing?" And Bail's like, "Fine, but please never go near my daughter." And Lando's like, "Me? I wouldn't dream of it." And they're all chummy, and Lando takes him inside. So that evening, after the business talk about Tabana gas shipments to Alderaan and all that boring garbage, Bail is being escorted to his room by Lobot, but little does anyone know an assassin from the Empire has used the cybernetic implants in Lobot's brain to hack into his brain and drive him crazy. So, as Bail and Lo are walking, Lobot just stops and Bail takes a step ahead, and then he's like, "Oh, what's happened?" He turns around and he says, "Is everything all right?" And Lobot's like, "No." And Bail is like, "Well, shucks, what can I do to help you out?" And Lobot's like, "Die." And Bail is like, "Come at me, bro." So Lobot throws this vicious right hand at Bail, who expertly blocks it with his left arm and returns his own right cross towards Lobot's head. But Lobot, instead of blocking the blow, just turns his head slightly to the side, so the part of Bail's hand that connects with Lobot is hitting the metal on the side of his head, and Lobot goes like staggering because that still would hurt him like crazy. But Bail broke like 3 fingers in his hand, so Lobot comes back with a haymaker of a right. Bail steps back. He swings, he misses. Lobot is just advancing and throwing punches. Bail's hands are up like a boxer, and he just keeps moving back. A doorway opens to the balcony outside, and they both step out into the pink and orange light of the setting sun. "Why are you doing this, man?" Bail asks, and Lobot is like, Did you forget my name? Lando told it to you in the meeting." And Bail is like, "Okay, maybe I wasn't paying attention perfectly, but dude, you attacked me." And Lobot's like, "I'm still attacking you." So instead of throwing punches, Lobot runs towards Bail and tackles him around the waist, knocking his back into the rail of the balcony. There's like a 50-foot drop, and it goes on to the city streets below, okay? So Bail takes his right elbow and drives it down into the back of Lobot's head, who's like got Bail around the waist right now. But unfortunately, the elbow hurts really badly when it hits the metal on the back of Lobot's head. And so Bail is like, "Dang it, why do I keep doing that?" Lobot realizes that he isn't getting anywhere trying to pick up Bail and throw him over the rail, so he steps back and throws an uppercut right into Bail's jaw. Bail spits out some blood and says, "That was a nice shot." Lobot smirks and says, "So is this." He takes out a gun he's been carrying and shoots Bail in the shoulder. Bail staggers back, hits the rail, and topples over it. He falls, thinking about his wonderful wife, his beautiful daughter, and he closes his eyes just before splashing into the water of an elaborate fountain. Lobot looks over the railing, and he sees that Bail survives. He takes a couple more shots with his gun, but Bail is able to get behind a small wall. Lobot jumps over the railing and into the water. He gets out and runs to Bail, who ends up running down a narrow exterior walkway which overhangs the planet itself. It doesn't have any lower levels beneath it. At the far end is a door. Lobot goes to shoot it at Bail, but his gun doesn't work because it got all wet in the fountain, so he just starts running towards Bail. Bail gets to the door and realizes that it's locked. He turns, braces himself to see Lobot running like a psychopath, like really a psychopath. The guy's like that hacked his brain didn't do that great a job. He's waving his arms back and forth in the air, and he's screaming like, "Yuck, yuck!" And Bail is like, "What the heck is happening here?" So Lobot slams into Bail, and the weight of both of them break down the door. Just then, a group of like 15 Ugnaughts get super mad because their work was interrupted, and Lobot is like, "Minions, I call on you now, slay all this vile interloper." And one of the Ugnaughts is like, "Actually, Mr. Lobot, our union contract clearly states and strictly forbids upper management from calling us into physical confrontation." And Lobot is like, okay, never mind. I don't want to mess with the union. And Bail is like, "Union this!" and punches Lobot in the gut with a powerful right punch. He then screams in pain because of his broken fingers. Lobot staggers back out of the room that the Ugnaughts were in, clutching his stomach. Bale gives him a jab with the left hand, which horribly hurts his aggravated left shoulder since he was shot there just 2 minutes ago. He gives another jab, and Lobot falls back into the railing. Bale grabs him and says, "Why are you doing this?" And Lobot says, "I have no idea." Lobot pushes Bale back and then decides to throw his gun at him since it can't shoot, and it hits Bale right in the face, causing him to bleed from his right eyebrow. Lobot steps forward with another right haymaker, but Bale steps under the blow, around Lobot's side. He grabs the Cyborg on the back of the neck with his right hand, on his belt with his left hand, lifts with all of his might, which of course causes him an incredible amount of pain because he was shot and broke his hand, and he tosses Lobot over the rail. Just then, Lando comes walking up and says, "Man, what happened to you?" And Bale says, "I was horribly attacked by that cyborg assistant of yours. I had to throw him over the rail in self-defense. If you look at the security footage, you will clearly see that he was the aggressor." And Lando is like, "Actually, we don't use cameras." And Bale says, "Why doesn't anyone in this galaxy seem to value recording equipment?" And Lando says, "I don't know, I'll just take your word for it. Say, do you like disco?" As I mentioned last week, I was going to be announcing my plan for Season 2 of the fights here, the versus videos here on this wonderful Your Broken Galaxy YouTube channel, and let me tell you, it's a little bit ambitious. My plan, as of this moment, is to have a tournament, and I would like you, my viewers and supporters, to help me out with that by voting for who wins in these tournaments. Specifically, what I want to do is have and I'm not joking, this is actually what I want to do, a 128 character tournament. So round 1 will have 64 fights with 64 winners, 64 losers, and then round 2 will go on from there. My hope is that any of you who want to contribute to this will join me on Patreon, and on one of the tiers you can get voting rights to vote on who wins in these matches. Now, I'm still really early on in my YouTube career at the time of recording this. I don't have any patrons, so if one of you becomes my patron, and only one of you becomes my patron, then while I'm writing out the fights, you're basically going to be able to decide who the winner is. But I will actually write the fights out. So that's the plan for Season 2. I do have one more of these kind of Season 1 videos for the battles, which would be great if you come back and check that one out. At the end of that one, I'm actually going to also be giving the brackets of the 100, maybe not the full brackets, but I'll share the 128 contestants in the Season 2, and it's gonna be a long season. It's probably gonna be a 3-year season. But that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that garbage.